Beloved Creator of all that is, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for the very breath of life and for our motivation to action. We're grateful for our fellows. We're grateful for direction and your wisdom. Thank you for all that is.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroom, and I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. You've seen many of us on our programs, both on YouTube, on our website, and on cable television. And I'd like to invite anybody on Oregon to contact me or William. If you want on, you're invited. Come. We will accept almost anybody that has almost anything to say that's pertinent to returning Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government. And my email and phone number and everything's published so you can get a hold of me. And William is our information director and wears a lot of hats, and he'll do what is ever necessary to get all of us with something to say published and broadcast. Hello, William. Say hi.
Hey, Ron. It's good to see you again. I'm up here visiting on the territory of Washington. We're going to cover that in a future episode, why this is the territory of Washington and not the state of, or Washington the state, or any of those crazy things. But today we're going to talk about TONA, the original 13th Amendment. That sounds like a lot of fun and education for people to understand and to wake up their minds to why we need to restore a republic back.
Yes, TONA, Title of Nobility, the amendment that was in the Constitution from 1819 to after 1861. But after March 1861, everything is color of law because of what Lincoln did. And when we're discussing titles of nobility start with king and go down through duke and duchess and barons and counts and all the way down to sirs and gentlemen and lady and Mr. and Miss or Mrs. Those are all titles of nobility. Mr. was quite low on the titles of nobility in England, as the bastard sons of kings and other nobles were given the title of Mr., among others. Let's see, the original 13th Article of Amendment to the Constitution for the United States. Okay, right away I take exception to that because some editor wrote that, and the correct title of this document is The United States of America's Constitution. That's what the correct title of it is. Let's see. If any citizen of the United States, okay, the United States is Washington, District of Columbia, and forts, ports, and other needful buildings that the United States owns located on the states and territories. So the United States citizen is a pretty small group of people. People that are elected to Congress, judges in Washington, D.C., the President of the United States, and all their families and employees on the United States. Okay? So any citizen of the United States shall accept, claim, receive, retain any present, pension, office, or emulant, which is pay of any kind, whatever, from any emperor, king, prince, or foreign power. Such persons shall cease to be a citizen of the United States and shall be incapable of holding any office of trust or profit under them or either of them. So, the 13th Amendment goes in we were just talking about this. Section 9, Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution also says, no title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present emolument, office, title, or of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. A small aside on that, a guy named Audie Murphy, little fella, became a movie star. I think he was from Texas, the most decorated soldier in World War II. He did so many things that they had to make him an officer. And when they made him an officer, they made him a gentleman. They removed him from the people into being an officer with the title of nobility granted by Congress, because all officers in the military are granted the title of gentleman as well as officer. And it says right here, and I just read it, no title of nobility shall be granted by the United States. Well, Congress, located in Washington, District of Columbia, is the sole manufacturer of law for the United States, and they went ahead and broke the Constitution by making officers gentlemen. I yield.
More proof that we're under color of law, and that's why we're here today, is to show everybody the proof and point them in the right direction for their mind to understand that we have to restore the republic, because we have been pirated since basically 1861, when the Civil War broke out and the states went into sine die. And then, of course, the president at that point thought that it was extreme need and had to call Congress back into order. And then at that point, they started washing over all the stuff that they didn't like that happened prior to 1861, which of course this nobility thing, and we can get into the major nobilities that I've seen a problem with, which were the attorneys. They were trying to influence law. They were trying to control the courts. Basically, everybody's heard that, that I was licensed by the bar or whatever, right? They passed the bar so that they could be approved to go into these courtrooms. And basically, the bar stands for British Accredited Registry. Sometimes it's really hard to try to prove that, but everybody knows this. During the middle of 1600s, the Crown of England established a formal registry in London where barristers were ordered by the Crown to be accredited. So they were trying to control the courts there in England. And then the first British Accredited Registry was established in Boston, far as I can tell, during 1761, in an attempt to allow accredited barrister law access to the British courts of New England. So they were trying to influence the beginning of our country, trying to get that start right there. So basically, they wanted to control the courts and who could defend anybody. And it's all a club. the attorney that's against you, maybe it's the DA, the other attorney that you paid to defend you, him and the judge all belong to the same club. Now, how does anybody win under that scenario when everybody in the room except for you belong to the same club? They're just like passing tokens around the room, really. Go ahead, Ron.
I got the answer to that one. The only way I believe, and I think the information bears it out, that we, one of the people, can win in one of their de facto courts, and it's usually not a win. It's usually they, the word doesn't want to come, dismiss the case.
Yes.
That's what
And
usually
part
happens.
of that means don't cross the bar. When you cross that bar in the room, everybody knows when you go into a courtroom, viewers and witnesses and all that, they sit down in the rows of seats right into the door there, and then there's this bar, and it looks like it's a rail that would stop you from falling off of a ship, and then there's a little gate there inside this bar, this gate, this barrier. And once you cross that bar, you go into their territory. And once you're into that territory, you better watch what's going on there, and make sure your pants are actually zipped up and buttoned and belted, because they're fixing to take you down.
Absolutely. Well said. The bar, the British Accreditation or British Accredited Registry, B.A.R. is on Oregon. It goes by the name of the Oregon State Bar, and they passed a law, a revised statute, which they are not supposed to do because there's a prohibition in the Constitution for the state to make any trade or profession above the others. And they did by making the bar the state organization approved for attorneys.
Right. Another proof that they are not following true law. They basically don't follow anything except for anything that's for them and against us. So
If
go ahead.
If it's to their benefit that you be turned loose, dismissed, the case dismissed, they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
If it's
so
not to
if
their
you're in there
benefit,
and you're about ready to present something that's going to open wide their criminal enterprise they have right there, they're going to quickly close that damn case out, even if it includes them walking the hell out of there and then leaving you standing in control of the court. And most people don't understand that if the judge leaves the room, you are now in control.
yes, the judge leaves the room and comes back in a different jurisdiction.
Yep.
Just trying to mess with your head.
Yeah, and never let your attorney, the other attorney, and the judge go behind that damn door, because they're in there freaking playing cards and maybe having a whiskey or something while they're laughing about what the hell's going on with you out in that damn room.
And they're going to make the decisions in that back room exactly what they want to do.
That's right. And if you said something to your attorney, I guarantee that they just said it to their club members behind that door.
Yes.
I guarantee.
Another thing about the Oregon State Bar that I find rather interesting is when you join the Oregon State Bar as a new attorney, it's your choice if you want to be an Esquire or a JD, Juris Doctor. Of course, when you graduate law school, you're given a doctorate degree in law. Whether you join the bar or not, you have that. But Esquire is a title of nobility one step down from Sir or a Knight. And it's still a title of nobility. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I did a lot of study on it quite a while back when I first learned about it. And I'm going to get this wrong, but if you start looking it up, you will find out that I was close enough to get you to the right spot to get the correct information. When you start looking at 13 TONA, you find out that 13 TONA was in the constitutions of states like it was either Delaware or Connecticut. I forget which. And I forget the exact year. But those states have a blue book, like the Oregon Blue Book, that talks about everything Oregon and the laws and the Constitution and everything else. And 13 TONA was in their book in 1922 and gone in 1925. And we know that the Illinois bar in 1906 started contacting all the states to flip all the states into a corporate entity, just like Lincoln and his administration flipped the United States into a corporate entity, which is not a constitutional Republican form of government. They flipped Oregon in November 8th, 1910. I yield.
Yes, and it's related to this TONA. I'll remind everybody that that's the original 13th Amendment to the, how do you say it? To the United States Constitution. How do you say that?
Okay, one little aside.
Uh-huh.
When all of the representatives of the original Continental Congress from the original 13 colonies met, they met under the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union. People like to shorten that name a lot. But when you look at it, the name of that organization was Confederation and Perpetual Union.
Yeah. Which, of
Articles.
course, Confederation has been demonized, at least in the last 100 years for sure. You can't say Confederate because now it's the South and slavery and all that stuff, right? And people don't understand that the Confederation started way before any thoughts of the Civil War.
Yeah, the Confederation started way before they thought about anything. Yep. They got together as a confederation of states. And so then the first thing they did, maybe not the first, but it's on the first page of what they did, is they named themselves. And they named themselves specifically the, with the capital T, United States of America. That's the name of the several states when they meet in Congress assembled. That's who we are. That group invented the Constitution. They also...
And we need to make sure that everybody that's watching understands that we're going to just keep beating the crap out of this, telling you that words and names actually mean something. Unlike what's going on to our English language for, at least several decades, just beating the crap out of it, calling things the opposite of what they really are in some cases, or shortening it down. United States. Well, I'm from the United States. Well, really? I'm from Oregon. I was born in Montana or on Montana. These words actually mean a hell of a lot. And we're just going to keep beating this up until the end or until the new beginning, whatever happens here. So, yes. And they're playing word games with us. This whole Esquire, attorney, lawyer, all these things are trying to make you think that it's all one and the same, and it's not. I'm a lawyer. I study law on a regular freaking basis. Am I the best? No, I'm not. There's other people better than me. But I'm a lawyer because I studied law. That's exactly what that means. Now, an attorney is a completely different animal. It is it's an esquire. It's a person that's trying to take from you to give to the state. That's exactly what attorney means. When you go inside that area in the courtroom, you're asking them to take your crap away and give it to the state. That's exactly what's going on. You're not going to freaking win. Maybe if you had enough money there that you could tuck under the table and get them to freaking side with you, then maybe you got something. But beyond that, you're done in that courtroom. I'm a lawyer. Ron's a lawyer. Anybody that's trying to restore the republic needs to be a lawyer, because you have to understand these laws, because they mean a whole hell of a lot. They're going to tell you that these things don't. They washed over this original 13th Amendment, which was the Titles of Nobility Amendment. Even TONA is kind of like washing over it when we say TONA. Titles of nobility, we don't need them. It's a horrible thing. It actually results in treason. When you're talking about allowing other people to influence our government in any matter that does not belong here, that's treason. What do you think, Ron?
You're good. You got it right, nailed. I'd like to bring one.
I'm trying, man. Every day I get a little bit better, right?
I got one little thing I'd like to bring up to you.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Pennsylvania, and we've been friends for quite a while. And his wife is a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
She graduated law school in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And in Pennsylvania, the bar does not make lawyers or attorneys. In Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court does.
Oh, wow.
The Supreme Court made her a lawyer.
Nice.
And not a member of the bar.
Great. I think we should fire all the bar attorneys and represent yourself, or hire a lawyer to help you, to consult with you, so that you can actually do something with yourself and not allow the removal of your property over to the state, including your kids and your houses.
Yes. And
Fire
one
them all.
other thing I want to bring up about Oregon. We were just looking at the Constitution and the things states aren't supposed to do. And one of the things the state isn't supposed to do is enter into commerce and take commerce away from the people. That's not one of their functions. But on Oregon and Illinois, the bail bond industry is controlled by the courts. The judge is in charge of setting your bail, and the court is the one that accepts your bail. The court is the one, not a bail bondsman.
Yep.
In every other
taking away
state,
all the
but
competition, right? So now they have a monopoly on that bond industry.
yes, and that's against the Constitution, but they do it. And the next thing I'd like to bring up about Oregon, Illinois doesn't do this one, but Oregon does. Oregon took the entire spirits or liquor industry and put it under the control of the state.
Yep. And, well,
Yep.
not the entire, right? Because we have individual retailers that are selling, but they're basically agents of the state, right?
Yes, that's
Now,
exactly who they are.
I moved here in 1987 from
Me too.
from Utah. Now, I don't know how it is today, but when I was there prior to 1987, the state was in full control of all alcohol. If you went to buy alcohol, you could only buy alcohol certain days of the week. I think it was Monday through Saturday. And when you went to that store, that retail, I call it retail outlet, but the reality is it's a freaking straight state bread store, really. you go there and outside the store it says liquor store in generic letters. There's like no signs in the window for advertisement of any sort. It's like going to maybe the welfare office or something where it's like all generic. There's nothing more than just the black words and a white building or gray building. And they shouldn't have control over this. I think we the people can control this. And I don't know, maybe they voted it in, the people did, but I doubt it. I bet it was under the Prohibition Acts back in the early 1900s that they stole control of alcohol for purposes that we don't need to go into today. But really, it was about taking it and raising the price so that you couldn't burn it in your car.
Yeah,
because you're not
people still burn alcohol.
Car, $20 worth of alcohol per gallon. It's just not going to freaking happen.
People still burn alcohol in cars.
Yep, that's right. Well, I think the alcohol runners that were coming from Canada, I think that they were burning alcohol in their cars too. Why not?
Yeah, probably.
So
well,
there's other issues with alcohol, but the petrochemical industry was actually involved behind the scenes, the Rockefellers and whatnot, to grab a hold of that control. I mean, it's just a constant theft of our rights, starting. We could at least draw that line there in 1861, when all hell broke loose in the North America here. I believe they were doing it in other countries too. I haven't done too much research there, but they're just going to keep following suit, right? Through all these countries. These attorneys here, though, yeah, we really got to get rid of them. Let's see here. We can go back into the TONA here, the titles of nobility. This one website that I've been frequenting here, going over this, is amendment-13.org. And they've done a lot. They've got a lot in here. There's a few errors, like Ron pointed out, and how things are titled here. But they've done a really good job. It looks like the last time the front page was edited was in 2006, and there was another page that's in 2012. So it doesn't look like they're frequenting it very much. I'm hoping they're still out there. I'd like to get in contact with them to see what's going on. It looks like they try to update whatever they can, but they're really requesting everybody to bring forth the evidence of this original 13th Amendment and the washing over of it in the 1860-ish area there. They got a lot of articles in here. They got documents, scanned documents, so that we can see the evidence. They have a page here titled Historical Chronology of this 13th Amendment. They go through from 1789 all the way down to, let's see here, the last one is 1999. So they got all kinds of stuff in there pointing out the evidence. You can see that, let's see here, edit that out. Just right there in 1789, just after the country starts, as far as we, understand 1776 and all that stuff. But in June 21st of 1789, we see the United States Constitution is ratified in New Hampshire, becoming the 9th state to ratify Article 1, Section 9 and 10 of the Constitution, right? And that's talking about the titles of nobility shall be granted. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States. No person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without consent to the Congress, accept any present enrollment, office, or title of any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, or foreign state. So that's when that started, was in 1789. This was a big deal. It wasn't like just something that somebody said once in a while. It was like from the beginning, they wanted to kick the king out of North America. We wanted to be free people here. And we knew that titles of nobility were a bad thing. And if we had anybody here that had these titles of nobility, then they were actually connected to the king. So this was a huge deal for a long time. And then, somehow it got washed out in the confusion of the Civil War. We see that, during my lifetime and my education, we were taught anything about this titles of nobility thing. Anytime that we talked about history, it was all wrapped around the Civil War, freeing the slaves, the new 13th Amendment that washed over the old 13th Amendment. And we're not here to say anything bad about that. Maybe it should have been a 14th Amendment. We can go into that 13th Amendment on another show because there's some major issues with that 13th Amendment, the newer one, where people think that it freed the slaves. It actually did not. It actually made us all slaves. We'll go on to that another show. Maybe next show we can go into that one. But they pointed out in this website here pointed out that, however, there was no penalty for violation of this article here. I think that when you go into the 13th Amendment, the original 13th Amendment, there was punishment. If you wish to be a citizen of the United States, you were cut off, and if you wanted to be in a hold an office of trust, you were cut off. And monetary offices too, you were cut off. So there was punishment involved there. Here it points out that in 1810, January 18th, there were only 17 states in the Union: Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vermont, and Virginia. These were the players at that time. And it was a small group of people compared to the nation that we have today. That same day there, Senator Philip Reed of Maryland proposed the title of nobility amendment. There's notes here of where you can go find this. The first version said, if any citizen of the United States shall accept any title of nobility from any king, prince, or foreign state, such citizen shall thenceforth be incapable of holding any office of honor or profit under the United States. So that's where it started, with this first little tiny piece. And then over time, they kept adding to it. So there's several references to them adding to it. It becomes much longer. Let's see here. They put in there the title of distinction inside there. Let's see here. I'm going to try to find when they finally voted it in. Let's see.
1819. Virginia was the last state to ratify.
No, I'm talking about Congress here. April. No. That's a delay. Motion state votes. Okay, so on April 27th of 1810, a motion on the Senate votes to pass the 13th Amendment proposal by a vote of 26-1. This was a big freaking deal. It wasn't even like split down the center like we see freaking today. It was 26-1. And then the resolution was engrossed and read a third time, and the president of the Senate reported it to the House accordingly. And then on May 1st of 1810, with considerable support both from the Federalists in New York and Massachusetts and the Democratic Republicans in the South, TONA is approved by a vote of 87-3 in the House. So this was like damn near a majority that this thing was accepted. So for people to try to think that, it was like, maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. No, it was freaking for real. It showed up in many documents, as Ron pointed out before. You can look at this website and they have references to the documents. They have scans of these documents. You can see them. Let's see, it points out here that December 25th of 1810, Maryland ratifies the 13th Amendment. being the first of the 13 states to require it. Of course, we acquired a few more states during this era between 1810 and 1819, but they were not approved for voting this. They were just going to accept the fact of whatever happened with the 13 out of the 17 states that required it. Now, the debate comes under whether or not Virginia voted in or not. Now, this website points out many facts about that. As far as I can tell, it was fully accepted by the state of Virginia. You got to remember, these are states, and they do whatever the hell they freaking want. There were several letters, I guess, from the president asking Virginia to ask for the what their resolution was to the 13th Amendment, and they didn't freaking answer back. And they don't freaking have to, because the president didn't have the control that everybody thinks they do. The states are actually in control of everything, meaning the people of those states. Yes, Ron?
One of the things that they may not have it where you're looking, but one of the things that I found out was Virginia did it in 1819, but then they hid the documents and changed history, and then it was found a copy of what Virginia did in the Texas archives. And then the Texas archives have a legitimate, real copy of the Virginia document. And then they made that noticed. And they love to hide information. The part that's I'm aiming at right here is we could not get a copy of Oregon statehood documents from the Secretary of State from Oregon's archives, nor could we get one from the National Archives in DC, nor could we get one from the Library of Congress. None of them will supply us with a legitimate copy of Oregon statehood documents. But on the other hand, Colorado, when it became a state, way after the Civil War, it has the 13th Amendment title of nobility in the published documents of Colorado. So you can go online, look up the published documents of the state of Colorado's statehood documents, and 13 TONAs right there.
That's right.
So,
exactly. So this is more proof. This whole Oregon scenario here that you're talking about is just more proof that they're hiding the fact that they are under color of law. They don't want people to understand that. They don't want you to have in your physical hands the proof that they're under color of law. Because from what I understand from a friend we know on Eastern Oregon there, claims that when you have that document and you take it into court, they run like their asses on fire in the courtroom. Because they cannot stand up to the color of, the light of day on these documents.
Let's give a shout out to Milt Mitchek in Eastern Oregon.
Yeah, thanks, Milt, for that info.
Yes, appreciate it.
Yep. I want to point out here in this on this website here, they have a rebuttal to arguments against the 13th Amendment here. It says here, only 3 major arguments are available for use by the most stringent, that's private and governmental, anti-TONA critics. These arguments are, number 1, Virginia never answered President Monroe / Secretary of State John Quincy Adams' inquiry about TONA ratification status. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, Virginia's General Assembly members were unacquainted with the content of the revised codes, which the revisal committee produced and voted in ignorance on that final product. These people were not ignorant. That's ridiculous. Number 3, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, and Mississippi archiving statehood before March 12th, 1819, a total of 16 affirmative state votes became the lowest number needed. taking
And
each of
that's
the
not
arguments.
true.
They take each one of these arguments. They're long paragraphs. I'm not going to go into them, but they beat the hell out of those stupid little freaking 3 arguments there. I mean, these people were not dumb. This was a big deal. Everybody wants to go, oh no, it wasn't. It was a huge freaking deal. And I don't know. There was something that happened in that Civil War era. I think a lot of older people were killed that remember these things. Maybe they even question people about these things and killed them. I think a lot of book burnings that happened in this country were actually about trying to hide the fact that we're under color of law, that they stole our country from us. That would be the Esquires that stole the damn country.
I agree, but I also want to add something else.
Yeah.
The gentlemen were doing it too.
Yes.
And Eisenhower, who was a 5-star gentleman from West Point and also our president, said to us when he left, beware the industrial military complex.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
He was hipping us the best he could to that, because I think he probably found out a lot of stuff after being the commander of all military forces for the Allies in Europe, then going on to become president of the United States for 2 terms. And it's interesting, he quit with that caution, and then comes JFK, a Democrat, and he comes in. He was also a war hero. He comes in and says, wait a minute now, we're gonna start manufacturing our own money. They're going to be called silver certificates, and we're not going to be using these Federal Reserve notes anymore. And then he said, and in addition to that, we're going to get rid of the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to visit Dallas.
Yep. And then we know that George Bush there was actually the head of the CIA at the time, and he was also in Dallas the same freaking day that JFK was killed. You know, that's a whole nother wormhole we can go into. You know, we can talk for hours and hours. Ron, this has been really good. I want to thank everybody for watching, and please subscribe to our website there so that you can get notices when we're going to be somewhere. We are trying to schedule an event in November at the rest area just north of Woodburn on I-5. I think that's just after mile marker 281 going northbound. You can check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, and Brighteon. And you know how that stuff works, people. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.